Man, I wish I was at the PlayStation Experience. This big event coming this weekend for fans of Sony is supposed to be spectacular. They've got secrets in store, and I want to figure out what they are with you guys. What's going on, everybody? I am Ghost Robo, and today we're talking about this pretty cool big event that is way larger than I ever anticipated. Sony basically is throwing a party for its fans for 2 days in Vegas, and they are inviting anybody to come play games. It's sort of like a mini E3 only focused on Sony titles. There's going to be Bloodborne, The Order, panels. It's like a really cool event, and they've put it together, I think, in a really fantastic way. I would love to see Microsoft or Sony do something like this. It's like a hyper-focused version of PAX, where you're getting announcements and sort of a more... It's definitely a more controlled show, but in that sense, you're probably getting better access than you would at just sort of the 70,000 people splooge fest that is PAX right now. Anyways, not talking about that one. We're talking about PSX, and most importantly, what is going to be revealed at this show. They say it's unprecedented. There's going to be some very special announcements. This is the 20th anniversary of PlayStation. We've already seen that super sleek and sexy gray PS4 modeled after the PS1. It even has unique texturing on it. There's little 2s and 0s on the touchpad. It looks so glorious, and they're going to be selling it at the event. I want to get one. Supposedly, there will be a way to get one if you're not there. There's only about 12 or 13,000 made in the world. I really would love to have one, but more importantly, I would love to have some really sweet game announcements. The thing that I think everyone's focusing on is some form of Crash Bandicoot making a return. There's been talks that Naughty Dog has some special stuff. We know they're going to show more Uncharted 4, which will be excellent. I hope we actually get a gameplay trailer and not just another sad moment of him slouched on the beach looking real glorious, but actually something in-game and maybe even a hint of what that game has evolved into. Will it just be a continuation of Uncharted 3, or have they learned some lessons from Last of Us that they now will implement into Uncharted 4? But let's focus back on Crash Bandicoot. Naughty Dog has kind of evolved into Sony's prized studio, and would they have gone out of their way to reacquire the Crash Bandicoot rights from Activision and use it with Naughty Dog to make some sort of new Crash game? I think this goes one of three ways. One, and for the record, my opinion is that, yes, you're going to see Crash Bandicoot this weekend in some new HD form. One, they could do remakes of the old games on PSN. They could even release them this weekend if they have them done. To me, that's the most boring option. Two, they could do a new downloadable Crash game made by Naughty Dog or made by anybody else with like updated graphics and maybe some refined mechanics, because I don't know that Crash Bandicoot could sort of, that his character and that gameplay facilitates the need for a AAA massive $60 game. Or three, they use Crash Bandicoot as a character in a new kind of game and almost implement him as sort of their mascot, since there is no Ratchet & Clank yet on PS4, since there is no Jak and Daxter, and say, hey, we are going to make Crash Bandicoot on PS4, and it's this big, massive action game, or this big, massive collectathon, I don't know, something like that. I think the most likely option is the second one, like a downloadable game, and I think that might be the best, to be able to see this new character, or this old character in a new light on pretty PlayStation 4, I think would appease fans and sort of lure in some new people. But that doesn't seem like a megaton, which is what they seem to be touting in all of their tweets and all of their sort of cryptic speech about this event. So what is the big kahuna going to be? People have theorized that maybe it's Last Guardian, that we're finally going to get to see that game from the creator of Shadow of the Colossus, and that it has become something finally able to be released in some recent future, near future. Like, is it coming in 2015? Is it dead totally? I don't know. I think that's one that perpetually, almost like Half-Life 3, gets talked about all the time because people want it to be real, and yet it seems to just sit there in its slumber pit, never wanting to wake up. Horizon could be there. Horizon, if you don't know, is the code name for Guerrilla Games' new RPG, which we saw some concept art from earlier this year, which was like the Huntress girl with like robotic dinosaur transformer things that looked absolutely epic, and they've talked about, some people know some information that it's sort of a big open world game, and it looks to mix in concepts from Skyrim, Destiny, and more, and could be like this really exciting, epic adventure. And that would be a game that would be perfect for this event because it's a Sony exclusive. Guerrilla Games has always been very tight with Sony, and it would kind of fit this event because it's not the Call of Duty or the Assassin's Creed that you save for the E3 stage show. It's something more personal to Sony, and I think it would fit perfectly here. And I personally, that's what I'm most hoping to see. I'm most hoping to see Horizon, and if there's any actual trailer, gameplay footage for that. We've also heard EA is going to be there. Capcom has an announcement. It's getting a little bit strange. I'm surprised that there are so many things here. And my cynical self says that most of them are going to probably be on the low end in terms of real megatons, like maybe HD remakes, maybe PS1 games on PSN, maybe PS2 games on PSN. Sony has an entire history that they're not really leveraging. Nintendo does a great job of leveraging that. I still think they could blow out the Virtual Console in a much better fashion, but at least they rely on a lot of their favorite characters, favorite games, and they do things to sort of pack in bits of history to their advantage. I would love to see Sony do something like that. They have all of these games. I don't know what would be the ideal if they just released like a huge bunch of PlayStation 1 and 2 games on PSN. Would that capture your interest, or would you rather them do an HD remake? Would you rather them do like Final Fantasy X in HD? I mean, I know they put that on Vita this year, so that's out of the question, but something along that line. Or would you rather them take old characters and put them into a new game? Like, let me know in the comments below what you're hoping and what you think is going to be revealed, what secrets are going to be there. Some more confirmed stuff. There will be new Bloodborne features and gameplay shown. Awesome, cannot wait. The Order is going to have a new gameplay demo there, and it's supposed to be pretty great. Supposedly, this is going to show us why The Order is a good game, because in the past, it's looked very pretty, but it has not played very pretty. I played it at E3 and thought it was really crappy. I didn't think I controlled that great. It was very limited in scope and felt like a game that should not cost $60. It was more of a pretty cake with some gross flavor, and that is not what I want from The Order 1886. People obviously are going to be very hyped to see Uncharted, whatever they show of that, if there is gameplay. There's going to be 80 indie games there. Sony always, pimping out their indie stuff, which is great and sweet. But they supposedly say they're going to show a bunch of stuff that maybe they shouldn't yet, which leads me to believe this is like a pre-E3 from them. Sony Ben's open world horror game is rumored to be there. David Jaffe's new game is supposed to be there. Sony San Diego is a surprise. All of these things are very, they don't have a whole lot of substance there. I can't really talk about what Sony San Diego is going to show because they say it's a huge surprise. I don't know what, this or that. But I've heard some people talk about perhaps Fallout 4 would be there. That would be a real megaton, but I don't think this is the time for that. First of all, I don't know that they would align themselves with Sony. I think Bethesda is pretty darn confident in themselves. I'm not sure where it would be shown, but I don't know that it would be a Sony exclusive event. I think they'd say that for E3, and as usual, they say they're not going to be there. I feel like they're going to say they're not going to be there forever until they actually reveal Fallout 4. That's one that a ton of people are waiting, but to me, that seems like a massive win E3 moment. Like, give it another 6 months, show it off in June, and blow people away with the power of next gen, current gen, and the Fallout universe. So again, I'm just thinking like through Sony's stable, a new God of War is possible, but I don't think so because the last one did not sort of perform that great. I kind of think that they're maybe shying away from God of War, and also Sony's image, I think, has shifted a little bit, and I don't know that God of War fits it as well. I'm sure there will be a new God of War, but I don't know that it's the one that they would be, really heavily pushing and promoting here. I think Crash Bandicoot is your most likely option, and that would be cool. It's just what they do. What is Capcom going to show? A new DMC? Just a revival? This event could go one of two ways. It could go that they're hyping it up so much for fans to make it a fun experience, and then you watch the keynote and you're like, wow, that was really lame because they don't want to blow their load before E3 or some of these other shows. But we also have a video game awards show on Friday night with Jeff Keighley, and that one is supposed to have some cool announcements as well. So it seems like December is now a month where people want to sort of tease and get you prepared for the upcoming year. And especially since 2014, the fall in particular was quite lackluster. I think these companies are very eager to remind people that there's good reason they bought a next-gen console and that there's good reason that they do buy a next-gen console for Christmas or for, post-Christmas gift card spendings. I think this is like a really great event, like I said, because there's also all of these panels. There's like a God of War retrospective, a Little Big Planet retrospective. There's a Last of Us multiplayer inside look, some real interesting stuff. We're also going to get a Night Under No Man's Sky. Now, No Man's Sky is the game that supposedly has like infinite planets to explore. It looks very, very pretty. It was like the indie darling of E3, and I'm interested to see what they show of that. I'm very skeptical of that game because it looks like a tech demo and sort of a real cool toy more than it does an actual game, and I would hope that they could evolve it into a fun, mechanical game, but we shall see. I think we'll get to know a lot more. The Witness is going to be playable there. That is Jonathan Blow's game for PS4 that I think initially was supposed to come at launch, and never made it, and still hasn't made it out a full year plus after the system. He is the guy that did Braid, so I'm very excited for The Witness. It's like a first-person, beautiful-looking puzzler, which I think should be pretty darn fun with some creative and crazy-looking mental stuff going on. And we're going to see more Batman Arkham Knight gameplay. I hope that proves why this is a next-gen game, because so far I think Batman looks really pretty, but the Batmobile doesn't sell me as a full-on feature for a brand new game. I want to see something more from them. I want to see an evolution like from Arkham Asylum to Arkham City, and why this game needs to be on PS4, and why they delayed it a full freaking 7 months. It went from November or October, maybe 8 months, to June, which is sort of like, meh. Deus Ex is another game I've seen rumored. Perhaps we see something from that. But I feel like Sony will focus mostly on their near and dear franchises close to their heart. This is their 20th anniversary. They are throwing out a limited edition PlayStation 4. And yeah, sure, they have Capcom on board. Sure, EA is going to be on stage. I don't know what the heck Peter Moore is going to show there. I really have no thing for that, but I feel like it's going to be more focused on The Order and Uncharted 4 and then Crash. I think you're going to see Crash. I think you're going to see Uncharted 4. I think you're going to see The Order. And I hope that those three can be like really incredible. You know, we've kind of gone through a period of some pretty cool games, but nothing that has really wowed me in a long time. And I would love Uncharted to be that game that sort of brings that wide-eyed majesty back to next gen. It's lacking it. The games that are coming out look cool. Stuff like Bloodborne is going to be super fun. Stuff like The Witcher 3. And for some people, that is their amaze moment. But for me, like, I'm looking for that real, like, wow factor, and I hope we get it this weekend. That would be really cool. Horizon, I think, could steal the show if they show that off. I hope that they do. Most likely, though, I think you're going to see a three-horse focus on, like I said, Uncharted 4, The Order 1886, and Crash. But The Last Guardian could make an appearance. Is it dead? Is it not dead? We don't know. It should be exciting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you're hoping to see, what you think we'll see. Are you pumped for a brand new Crash? Did you ever play Crash? When I was a kid, I really loved Crash. Crash Bandicoot 2 was one of the first games I got on PlayStation 1, and one of the first games that introduced me into the 3D space of gaming. So it means a lot to me. I think that they could do some cool things. If they modify the gameplay, it can't be the same thing unless they're going to just do a small $10 download title, which would be cute, but not that cool. I would rather see them just be creative. Show us something sweet. Naughty Dog, we're used to seeing them do very human and intense adventures through Uncharted, where they have a lot of good comedy and humor and interpersonal relations. The Last of Us, which was a deep and dramatic story. Show us your fun side. Bring out Crash. It'd be sweet if Naughty Dog, that was what their second team was working on instead of pre-production on Last of Us 2 or something else. I don't know. Just speculating and spitballing here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and are pumped for PSX, smash that like button. If you're going, gosh, let me know. If you want to pick me up a great PS4, I will pay you and send you love. Before we get out of here, let's have a little fun and make a crazy prediction. We've heard talks of Siphon Filter, perhaps something with Final Fantasy, but let's get even weirder. What if Sony made an overlapping universe game where they integrated all of their best characters into one title? So it's the 20th anniversary. They're touting their heritage. They're very proud of where they've been, where they are, all of that, and in between. How about they make a game where they merge Ratchet and Crash and Jack and all these guys together? And I'm not talking about some dumb party game, but we know Sony isn't opposed to mixing and matching, because we've seen PlayStation All-Stars, which was actually a pretty underrated and very, very good game. I thought a fun fighter. Maybe it didn't live up to Smash Bros., but it definitely deserved a spot in its own light. What if they did something that could appeal to sort of the younger audience as well as the nostalgic gamer, and sort of find a way to hit this mass market appeal with characters that people love and be intriguing because it did call back to yesteryear of PlayStation and Sony lore, and also looked beautiful and maybe brought in some new gameplay elements? Maybe it's some sort of co-op game. Maybe it's some sort of crazy adventure. Maybe they even elevate the characters, make them older, and make it like a true action game, sort of in the vein of like sort of the Jack and Daxter sequels, where they got to a more adult-ish feel, even though it still was a fun game with a lot of cool mechanics. That is my crazy prediction. Would you even want that? Do you think it will happen? Probably not. But hey, sometimes it's good to have a little bit of fun. So like, that's today. Drink some hot chocolate. Thanks again, and we will see you all later.